Join World News Now, already in progress.
No charges have been filed. Police have been looking for McMillan since Tuesday. That's when someone crashed his car, and he was nowhere to be found.
The judge in the BP trial heard from former chief executive Tony Hayward. He's the man at the helm of the company during that oil spill back in 2010. Hayward, who famously said, "I'd like my life back" during the very height of the disaster, was not present in that courtroom in New Orleans. Instead, though, prosecutors played a part of his deposition video talking about the role of leaders being important to shaping the culture of a company. And with that, we take a look at weather on this Thursday. Several areas get some light snow today, but nothing like the blizzard earlier this week. Showers, meanwhile, in Florida, drying out elsewhere in the southeast. And, of course, no shocker here, another beautiful sunny day in Honolulu.
Lucky for them, it's 81 degrees there. 69 in Phoenix. You want to enjoy that. 50s for most of the East Coast. Not bad. 30s for the Great Lakes and 76 in Miami. Why do we keep talking about the places where it's beautiful? We know it's great there. Miami, Honolulu.
We're getting close to spring.
Keep that to yourself,
gives us a fantasy to shoot for. Getting there.
And now, a unique proposition for one of the nation's wealthiest communities. Woodside, California is midway between San Francisco and San Jose. Apple founder Steve Jobs used to live there.
The town, get this, has received an offer of $11.5 million to rename itself SugarDaddy.com. That is a dating website for wealthy folks. The website's management is also asking that the town erect a statue of Playboy founder Hugh Hefner.
Needless to say, we don't think that's going to happen.
But see, the real trick, they knew this would make a headline that newscasters will say SugarDaddy.com, as we just did now twice, and now go check out that website.
Of course, especially since you know it's for wealthy men who want to be younger girls' sugar daddies.
We played right into their hands on that story. But
well, anyway, if you care, really wealthy people live there, including the founder of Oracle, the co-founder of Intel, actress Michelle Pfeiffer and her husband, producer David Lee Kelly, rock legend Neil Young. Lots of money, lots of cash. Lucky for you. And Honolulu and Miami. Moving on.
Coming up, we're returning to our top story this morning, an historical insight into the Pope's resignation.
And Rosa Parks finally finds her place in American history in a new place of honor. How her defiant act turned her into a hero. You're watching World News Now.
You are the spark that started our freedom movement. Thank you, Sister Rosa Parks.
World News Now weather. Brought to you by Colonial Penn Life Insurance.
Thank you for calling Colonial Penn Life Insurance Company. I'm glad I was able to help you today. Hi, my name is Jonathan Lawson, and I'm a customer service representative for Colonial Penn Life Insurance Company. Insurance can sometimes be difficult to understand, but here at Colonial Penn, we make it simple. Alex Trebek has been representing Colonial Penn for over 10 years and is here to tell you how we do it.
Thanks, Jonathan. I'm happy to be here with these knowledgeable Colonial Penn representatives. I know that customer service is a priority for them. I've been representing Colonial Penn for over 10 years, talking about their guaranteed acceptance life insurance. If you're 50 to 85, write down the toll-free number on your screen and call for free information. With this insurance, there's no medical exam, no health questions either. Guaranteed. You cannot be turned down because of your health. Your rate will never go up, and your benefit will never go down due to age. It costs less than 35 cents a day. That's less than the cost of a daily newspaper. Call them now. You'll be glad you did.
At Colonial Penn, we've been serving our customers for over 50 years, and we have over 500,000 life insurance policies in force that help cover funeral costs, medical bills, credit card balances, or other final expenses. We're committed to our customers. We make insurance simple.
Call Colonial Penn now at 1-800-232-3100 for free information and a free gift. That's 1-800-232-3100. Call now.
There's like a clean team.
Did you see Mr. Clean disinfecting bath cleaner killing that bacteria yesterday? Just flaunting it?
And did you see the magic eraser clean up that crazy kitchen mess? It was like super dirty, super clean. How?
Wish I hadn't. What's that amazing smell?
It's Mr. Clean with the amazing scent of gain.
Wow. You know, if I had a team, you'd be on it.
Our mascot could be a Cleanosaurus Rex.
You're off the team.
Dirt and grime have nowhere to hide with the Mr. Clean Clean Team on your side.
This morning, the Pope retires. Who will succeed him in the papacy? This morning, the secrets, the intrigue. George Stephanopoulos is there, live at the Vatican. with exclusive reports throughout the morning on Good Morning America, this morning on ABC.
Welcome back, everybody. As we've been talking about, today is the last day of the papacy of Pope Benedict.
And joining us this morning with insight on the resignation, the Pope's tenure, and what's next is Dr. George Dematopolis, Associate Professor at Fordham University. He's also the author of a timely book called The Invention of Peter, Apostolic Discourse and Papal Authority in Late Antiquity. Thank you for joining us, Doctor. We appreciate it. Lots to get to. Today is a big day for Roman Catholics around the world, to say the least.
It's a very big day. It's very much an unprecedented day.
Now, cardinals are used to having a mourning period before they have to elect the next pope. This is quite unprecedented. What are they doing?
Well, it's unprecedented in so many ways. Just the idea of a resignation. I mean, yes, it's happened in the past, but every time it's happened, with one possible exception, every time it's happened in the past, it had been forced. This was obviously, not only was this not forced, this was unforeseen, and I believe the cardinals were largely caught off guard, and I suspect that we have the possibility of a very long conclave, only because this was so unanticipated. I mean, yes, he's old, right, but very much unanticipated.
And obviously, what's driving all this are some health concerns here. And that obviously, you mentioned his age a second ago, but he is admittedly frail. He's not up to the job any longer, so he made a very personal, and you described it as a humble decision to step down.
Absolutely. I think it's an incredibly humble move. I mean, a public acknowledgement of personal weakness and inability. The role is absolutely grueling. The number of public appearances they make, the emotional, the spiritual toll that the job takes. You can understand the man's 85. He realizes his own limits. Right?
And very quickly, there is a political element to all of this, and it all happens behind closed doors. We're not privy to what those discussions may be over the next few weeks here. But in terms of what you think they may lean toward, it will be someone that is conservative, like Benedict, or it will be someone you think will perhaps be a little more progressive?
The Roman Catholic Church is enormous. It's over 1 billion people worldwide. The Roman Catholic Church is a very big tent. There are a lot of people who hold diverse theological and social views that still self-identify as Roman Catholics. That said, of the 117 or so cardinals who are going to elect the next pope, they're not so diverse. They are all staunchly in line dogmatically. They are almost all in line on the social issues. So when you talk about progressive or conservative, I mean, that's a sliding scale, and you know, it may not slide that. There's not that much room within that conclave.
Gotcha. So in a nutshell, essentially, maybe perhaps someone younger, perhaps from a different part of the world, but
dogmatically
more of the same.
More of the same, most likely.
But really, we really have no idea.
We have no idea. And listen, they don't have to choose one from among themselves. They're not restricted to choosing another cardinal.
We will see how it plays out. Thank you so much for being with us. We appreciate it. And we'll be back with more right after this.
World News Now continues after this from our ABC stations.
Diamonds, half-carat solitaires, $4.99. 1 carat, $9.90. Certified 1 carats are just $19.90. Thousands of GIA diamonds, guaranteed the lowest price. The latest designer styles set while you watch. By Factory Direct, the jewelry factory in Hackensack.
No President's Day?
No phony President's Day sales at my Bob's. My prices are the lowest every day.
What do you say, Honest Abe? I vote yay for Bob's Way. Yay!
Sofa. Love seat. 3 tables.
2 lamps.
Designer rug.
Style and comfort.
Only $9.98.
Don't need the rug?
Only $7.99.
New year, new products, but some things never change. The quality, choice, and value at Bob's Discount Furniture.
The Forever Gift. Diamond bands are $129. Mark Gregory designer bands $39. 1/4 carat studs are $99. 2/5 carat $199. The Jewelry Factory has thousands of rings, pendants, bracelets, and earrings guaranteed to appraise for double. The Jewelry Factory in Hackensack.
Thank you, Miss Rosa. You are the spark that started our freedom movement. Thank you, Sister Rosa Parks.
More than century ago, a woman named Rosa Parks set off a chain of events that changed the nation, all by the simple act of refusing to give up her seat on the bus.
A statue of Parks was unveiled in the U.S. Capitol yesterday, making history once again. ABC's Karen Travers has the story.
She's an icon of the civil rights movement, and Rosa Parks became a permanent presence in the nation's capital.
Rosa Parks held no elected office. She possessed no fortune, lived her life far from the formal seats of power. And yet today she takes her rightful place among those who've shaped this nation's course.
They may not be able to agree on policy, but President Obama and congressional leaders came together to honor a woman who changed history. In 1955 in Montgomery, Alabama, Parks refused to give up her seat on a crowded, segregated bus to a white man. She was arrested, and her act of defiance sparked a bus boycott that lasted more than a year. President Obama said that single, simple act also launched the civil rights movement.
It is because of these men and women that I stand here today.
The statue unveiling was a homecoming of sorts for Parks, who worked as an aide to Michigan Democratic Congressman John Conyers for nearly 2 decades in Detroit.
Soon, Mr. Conyers found out that people were visiting the office to see Rosa Parks and not the congressman.
Parks died in 2005 at the age of 92. After her death, Rosa Parks became the first woman to lie in state in the Capitol Rotunda. Yesterday, she made history once again as the first black woman to be honored in Statuary Hall. Robin, Diana, back to you.
Incredible life and incredible honor. Thank you for that story, Karen. And just historical perspective, she was arrested in 55, and by 56 is when the Supreme Court struck down Alabama's segregated bus system as unconstitutional.
Oh, and by the way, in her autobiography, she debunked this theory that she refused to give it up because she was tired. She said, I wasn't any more tired than I was any other day of work. I was 42 years old. I was a young woman. I wasn't tired because I was old. I was tired of giving in.
And she's best known for it, but not the first to do it. Also a 15-year-old girl beforehand.
We know.
And finally, this half hour, the story of a little boy with limitless potential and a passion for life that most of us only wish we had.
That's so true. This is our boom favorite story of the day. The 4-year-old was born with spina bifida, but it's not slowing him down at all. And that has caught the eye of a Paralympic coach who is helping that little boy achieve his dream. We have more now from Aaron Luna from our station in Spokane.
Whether he's cruising through the cones or shooting for 2.
Well, it started about 2.5. His first little Fisher-Price set, basketball.
You won't find 4-year-old Aiden Youngblood without his hat or his smile.
He fell in love with sports, sitting down watching football and basketball with Daddy every day.
But last year at Bloomsday, he found a new love.
He just said he wanted to go fast. He was very interested in what they were doing, and he's even been practicing the position in his regular chair.
Para-Olympic coach Teresa Skinner saw that gleam in his eye.
Aiden told me he wanted to go fast like everyone else is going.
And made the call.
If anyone could build a small race chair, it would definitely be Barry at Eagle Sports Chairs. So
late one evening at the Bloomsday office, Skinner surprised the young athlete with possibly the smallest racing chair ever made.
I did not expect the chair at all, and I'm still in shock.
The New Year's baby who was born with an early expiration date.
When he came out, it was a bit scary. We got a lot of scary news from the doctors and whatnot.
Made another leap experts thought he never would.
At 3 years old, he's had 10 surgeries.
Not once letting spina bifida with hydrocephalus on the brain slow him down. In fact, he's going faster now than ever before.
He's a really fast learner. He's already picking up the little things that you have to do to make the chair move around.
Paralympian Amber Lynn Weber rolled back and forth with the new racer, knowing firsthand the difference the gift will make.
It just helps them fit in and gives them something to compare.
From the beginning, we've been told what he could not do, and he's done all of that and much more.
And like always, his parents are going to have to try that much harder to keep up.
I'm going to have to get new running shoes.
For KXLY4 HD News, I'm Aaron Luna.
Oh, wow. How did I fall in love with that kid?
Remember that face. He will be famous one day.
Oh,
we know it.
That was awesome. That was awesome. More from ABC coming up next.
More Americans choose ABC News to see the whole picture.
If you are a diabetic and currently trying to lose weight, please stay tuned to this important message. A market trial offer is starting now for a
I know I can do anything.
New York's #1 news, Channel 7 Eyewitness News this morning.
This morning on World News Now, transition time. Pope Benedict's retirement becomes official this morning, opening a new door for the Roman Catholic Church.
Today's rituals, elaborate farewell ceremonies, and what the future holds for the faithful. It's Monday, February 28th.
From ABC News, this is World News Now.
I did.
Oh, it's okay. We meant Thursday.
Is it? Yes.
Thursday the 28th. Tomorrow's Friday, March 1st. Yeah, we got it straight now.
We apologize for that. Good morning on this Thursday, the 28th. I'm Diana Perez.
And I'm Rob Nelson. We'll explain what happens after the Pope flies from the Vatican today. That's coming up in our top story. Certainly a huge day of the world watching, literally.
Yep.
And then to our other top story right now on Capitol Hill, where negotiations over the wide-reaching budget cuts are finally scheduled. Why the delay, though, and more importantly, what exactly is at stake?
Also this morning, the legal action taken after a hockey coach was seen tripping players from the opposing team, the outrage, and why the coach's troubles go beyond this act of unsportsmanship.
Sometimes the worst thing about kids' sports, the adults. Another example.
And they were,
right there.
It wasn't even during the game. Not that that's any better, but come on.
It was the sportsman-like stuff afterwards, you know, the handshake, the high five, and
thanks, good game.
That's when the adults said, let me check this, let me check Junior over here.
Not cute.
Unbelievable. And later this half hour, the Civil Rights March on Washington back in 1963. Well, I spoke to some African-American pioneers who were there on that historic day to remember the march 50 years ago and where that spirit is today and what fond, warm memories they have of that day and really how it changed their worldview and their lives.
Some incredible insight, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah, it really was incredible to sit down with them because they lived through something that I've only read about in history books. Right. So to have that experience was very cool. So I hope you guys tune in for all of that. But first, Pope Benedict now down to his final hours as the head of the Roman Catholic Church. As we see the Vatican, it is important to realize that no one on earth right now has ever seen what's going to happen today.
It has been 600 years since a pope resigned. And watch this. That light on last night in Benedict's Vatican apartment, a person appears in the window, and then the light goes out, perhaps symbolic of the day ahead.
Yeah, the ending of one day, the beginning of a new one, literally and metaphorically in this case as well. And of course, electing a new pope falls to the church's cardinals, as ABC's David Wright now reports.
Before the cardinals file into the Sistine Chapel and lock the doors behind them, technicians will have pulled up the floorboards to install cell phone jamming devices. Violating the secrecy is punishable by excommunication.
It's a way of ensuring that the voice that's speaking to the cardinals during the conclave belongs to the Holy Spirit and to no one else.
No one knows how long it'll take. The shortest conclave lasted just a few hours. The longest, nearly 3 years. In fact, that's why they started locking the doors. In the Middle Ages, during the plague years, a conclave meeting in the town of Viterbo took so long, frustrated villagers eventually locked the cardinals in to hurry them up. Didn't work, so they tried to starve them out. That didn't work, so they exposed them to the elements, tearing the roof off the building to let the Holy Spirit in. Not gonna happen in the Sistine Chapel, where the ceiling is Michelangelo's masterpiece. These days, the cardinals have rooms in a Vatican guest house, but they're still cut off from the outside world for the duration. This is your first conclave, if I'm...
It is.
Cardinal William Leveda of San Francisco has been told what to expect.
I think it's a prayerful atmosphere.
It's not like a party-nominating convention.
No, it's not like that at all. No rah-rah and hooray for this.
No big speeches.
No campaigning. You can't put yourself forward.
When the time comes to vote, the cardinals are strongly urged to disguise their handwriting to avoid any awkwardness later. But make no mistake, ever so quietly, the politicking has already begun. you could see the Cardinals whispering. David Wright, ABC News, Rome.
And what are they whispering about?
And so it begins. If we could only read their lips to see what they're saying.
All we know, that's the fascinating part of this process. All we ever know is that white smoke and who they pick, whom they pick. That's
right.
That's it. Other than that, it's all between that very small group of gentlemen.
We know who's going in. We have no idea who's going to come out as Pope. Here's a couple of interesting points that David didn't get to. Only the cardinals under the age of 80 will be allowed into the conclave. And also, they don't have to pick amongst that, Pope amongst them. They can pick somebody that's not part of the conclave and elect that person as Pope. Imagine that phone call.
Exactly.
Hey, Rob Nelson, you're our new Pope.
Oh, really?
What?
I'll leave the overnights immediately for my new job as Pope. But also interesting, too, in Benedict's remarks yesterday, kind of a personal speech. You know, obviously, leaders step down, they take a look back and kind of talk about their legacy. And he did kind of very directly allude to some of the tough times that he's faced. You have to imagine the sexual abuse scandal, that leak of his private documents. There was a line in which he said there were also moments in which the waters were agitated and the wind contrary. The Lord seemed to be sleeping. Kind of alluding to the tough times. Interesting, and perhaps even a warning to the person who follows him as well.
That's for sure.
Be sure to stay with ABC News all morning long as we bring you live coverage of the Pope's farewell. ABC's George Stephanopoulos is there at the Vatican, where he will host our special coverage starting later this morning.
And now to Syria, where opposition rebels may be getting help from the U.S. Today, Secretary of State John Kerry is expected to offer non-lethal assistance as he meets with opposition leaders in Rome. The U.S. remains opposed to providing arms, but body armor, armed vehicles, and other military gear may be offered. Americans in the region are reportedly already training opposition fighters.
After weeks of outlining the dire consequences of those looming budget cuts, President Obama has now softened his warnings, saying it is not a cliff, but rather a tumble downward. The president and congressional leaders are set to meet at the White House tomorrow after the deadline has already passed. Those spending cuts, though, have already started to worry the nation's attorney general.
This is something that is going to have an impact on the safety of this country. And anybody who says that that's not true is either lying or saying something that runs contrary to the facts.
Uncertainty about the budget does not appear, though, to be hurting Wall Street. The Dow came within 100 points of its all-time high yesterday.
Those budget cuts are just one of the many challenges faced by the newly confirmed Secretary of the Treasury, Jack Lew. Lew is likely to be sworn in today or tomorrow after winning Senate approval yesterday. He's formerly the president's chief of staff. Lew will take over the top Treasury job from Timothy Geithner. And Caroline Kennedy may soon have a high-profile diplomatic job in the administration. Bloomberg News is reporting that the late president's daughter is the top contender as the next U.S. ambassador to Japan. Sources say Kennedy is the president's top choice, but her background check is simply not complete yet.
More than 100 top Republicans have signed a legal brief being filed today at the Supreme Court declaring that gays do have a constitutional right to marry. Dozens of corporate executives have also filed statements. It's all part of the legal maneuvering ahead of the court's consideration of California's Proposition 8, which bans same-sex marriage. Justices will hear the case at the end of next month. Seems to be a real sea change, though. Even the Republicans now signing on to this idea of the gay marriage. So it's gaining some traction, but whether it moves the court, anyone's guess still.
Certainly not what you were expecting.
Or
anyone was expecting, especially from the Republican side.
Exactly. Times are changing. All right. Well, Diana, I know you do have a small tattoo.
Tiny?
Yeah, very little. Something there, yes. And if I ever get inspired to get one, which ain't gonna happen, here's a little lady who actually could maybe do it for me.
That's right, and she is little, as in 7-year-old little. Her name is Alicia Gutierrez of Abilene, Texas. She's learning the trade from her dad, John, who owns his own tattoo shop. Let's say that Alicia is getting plenty of practice because she's doing it on actual people who are willing to get tattooed by 7-year-olds.
Brave souls. He says if she keeps it up, Alicia should be, quote, rocking out bad tattoos by the time she's 10 or 12. Alicia, to her credit, says she's not even nervous while she's doing it. And apparently it runs in the family there because her dad started when he was 14 years old. So they have that ink in their blood at a very young age in the Gutierrez family.
I gotta say, that's the story that you would carry with you forever. If you got tattooed by a 7-year-old.
That'd be memorable. Dude,
this jacked up flower was done by a 7-year-old.
But another secret folks should know about our new lovely lady, Diana Perez, is that you like tattoos. If you had your way, you would have more than just a Little one.
If I weren't doing what I was doing, I'd probably be like a crazy rocker chick with a sleeve.
Really? You would have all the arm and all that?
I'd shave half of my head, have ear piercings throughout my entire,
Wow.
Maybe. Maybe in my next life.
The rock star side to Miss Perez. I love it.
Little feisty.
All right. Well, coming up next, what could be a very creepy venue for a class reunion.
That's right. And that hockey coach we told you about captured on camera in an act of unsportsmanship, the punishment, and his long list of troubles. You're watching World News Now.
World News Now weather. Brought to you by Mucinex Sinus Max.
Oh, my sinuses. When mucus causes unbearable symptoms, it's a downgrade.
Going up. Sinus pressure. Left and right.